One of the matches that I'm really looking forward to on the WWE Night of Champions 2014 is the upcoming Chris Jericho versus Randy Orton match. This is the match that honestly was sort of rumored. A lot of people were whispering around, thinking that this match might happen at Night of Champions. But then after the Monday Night Raw match, when it ended of Bray Wyatt beating Chris Jericho by basically beating on Jericho's injured knee and then diving over Jericho outside of the cage onto the floor and picking up the win, and then throwing Jericho back into the cage only to rough him up and beat him up a little bit more. I was thinking, well, that's it. We've seen Chris Jericho. He had an awfully, good run coming back to WWE. He had a few matches against Bray Wyatt here and there, 2 pay-per-views and 1 Monday Night Raw match, and basically now he's going to go back out on the road. He's going to do what he loves, and that's, playing music and spreading the love of Fozzy around the world. And then out of the middle of nowhere, Randy Orton attacks Chris Jericho in the back, and I was as stunned as everybody else in the world. I thought that this was coming out of the middle of nowhere. At first, I just was like, well, this is completely random, and then I got a big, huge smile on my face, thinking of, well, this must be the only way that they can think of setting up Night of Champions. Randy Orton going up against Chris Jericho in this match that I've been looking forward to. This, more than likely, to me, is going to be the best match of Jericho's run right here. I know that we get a lot of these where Jericho comes back for a few months and then he's gone, and we have to sit it out and wait for the next big return that he tries to keep a surprise. It always sort of finds a way of getting spoiled along the way. He's never really had that really big return. I think the only time it's really ever, sort of surprised us is when he came back at the Rumble in Phoenix, and he drew the number 2 spot, came out and beat up Chris Jericho. That was pretty fun. I think that when they announced that a former champion was going to be debuting on Raw earlier this summer, I think Chris Jericho was one of the names that came out as sort of like a maybe. I think a lot of people were definitely looking at The Miz, and some people were thinking it might even be like, the way of bringing Ric Flair in, and there were some random people, but as long as they're giving us hints that somebody's going to be debuting and telling us that it's a former champion, Jericho's name is always going to be at the top of that list. I think a lot of people are breaking it down to thinking that this feud is mainly built up that Orton is upset, that if you go back to the episode of the highlight reel that was hosted by Chris Jericho, talking to Randy Orton before 7,000 guys came out there saying that they all deserved a shot at Brock Lesnar at the Night of Champions show. Why all these people would be lining up to get a championship shot against the guy that they're saying that even John Cena has no chance in the world at to fight. I got no clue, but that's just the direction that they want to take the storyline. But Chris Jericho said that all of Randy Orton's success was handed to him on a silver platter, that he never really had to go out and earn anything on his own, going back to the days of Randy Orton being selected to join Evolution, and always having Ric Flair and Triple H there to fight his battles, making sure that he kept the Intercontinental title, to going out and beating Chris Benoit and winning the WWE Championship, and then going all the way to this run where he basically has the authority. Stephanie McMahon and Triple H fighting his battles, making sure that he's in the right direction to go from here. I think that you'd have to be a fool not to pick Randy Orton in this match. But you never know. WWE always likes to throw those curveballs out there. Basically, you go back to RVD's last match in WWE. When he left, I believe it was at Extreme Rules. I think it was a stretcher match, if I can remember right. Everyone in the world thought, this is a slam dunk. Rob Van Dam is leaving WWE. We're not going to see him around for a while. There's no way in the world they're going to let him get a win on the pay-per-view. And whoever wrote up the script and got it approved by Vince, basically, they wanted to fool everyone. They didn't want everybody thinking that it was as easy as everybody thought it was to pick these matches, and he wanted to show you that there was a reason why they go out there and have the matches instead of just telling you, this guy won and that was it, was basically Randy Orton beat, Rob Van Dam throughout the whole match. But at the last minute, Rob Van Dam was able to put Randy on the stretcher and push him over the line, basically before Randy, flipped out. I believe that was one of the times he punted Rob Van Dam in the head, getting the concussion angle over, giving them a storyline for why Rob Van Dam was leaving, just other than saying that his contract had expired and that he was leaving, and then in a few years you'd be able to see him debuting for TNA Impact Wrestling. But honestly, in this match, I'm going to pick Orton. I wish that Jericho would get the win. I think he only got the one win on that one pay-per-view in any match. Well, that match didn't really matter in the long run anyways. It was just Jericho versus Bray. Bray bores me a little bit, so I sort of, punch him in the sack whenever I get the chance. Just not really liking him. Keep hoping that he breaks out, and keep hoping that I get to see what everybody sees in Bray, but he's just not for me as of right now.